Recording in progress.
Yeah, it's turned into some kind of yuppie trendy place.
Wow. This one says 8:59, yours says 9?
Yeah, it does too.
What does yours say?
9.
You ready? We used to not even have to wait on all this. Now that's all we do.
We're ready.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting of the Village of Ruidoso. If you will stand with me for a moment, we'll have a moment of silence, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome. It's going to be a beautiful day, and the clock, I don't know where it came from. It looks awesome.
I know it
So
does.
whoever did that, who's that?
Gina.
Gina, yeah, that looks pretty good. So
That looks great.
anyway, thank you for everybody, and we just want to remind everybody to keep their thoughts and prayers for the family in Capitan. I still haven't heard who it was yet. With fire, there was a death in a fire in Capitan, so just need to always be aware of these things. So roll call, please, ma'am.
Mayor Crawford.
Here.
Counselor Eby.
Here.
Counselor Letterman.
Here.
Counselor Salas.
Here.
Counselor Hooker.
Here.
Counselor Jackson.
Here.
And Counselor Corey.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much, and welcome, Roderick.
Yeah.
Roderick is new in the purchasing department, so we'll get to meet him, I guess, later on, but don't break him before he gets broke in. Okay, thank you. Anyway, it's not that bad of a trip, is it, Connor? It's okay, so. All right, agenda items. First one is public hearing for adoption of ordinance 2026-10 and ordinance amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 54, Land Use, Article 2, Land Development Code, Division 4, Zoning Districts, Section 54-72, Overlay Zones, and Appendix A, Fees, Fines, and Penalties. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council.
Morning.
As you recall, you amended the village code regarding short-term rental properties, a significant change back in February of last year. One of those changes was regarding the prohibition on the use of fire pits and outdoor burning at short-term rental properties in the village. Furthermore, this directed the Community Development Director to suspend the permit of any short-term rental property with the illegal use of a fire pit that was reported to either the village or our third-party monitoring agent, and then also confirmed by the village, to then suspend that with moving it to the governing body agenda to request a revocation of that permit for up to 365 days. There is the proposed amendment that would substitute the Planning Commission for the governing body for the hearing of the revocation of the license, and then also that the decision of the Planning Commission would be final with no right of appeal to the governing body.
Boo.
Well, I mean, remember, we were having them all come to us, and I thought this was,
And Mayor Crawford, members of the council, we do have our attorney, Jared Nahar. My second question. And he has reviewed the ordinance, and if there's any questions, he can also go over the ordinance and the minute changes. Good morning, Jared.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Ron, as I've discussed with you, I'm concerned about ceding our authority. And you explained to me if the Planning Commission for example, were to terminate a license, the homeowner's recourse would be with district court?
Mayor Crawford, Counselor Corey, that's one option, is the going directly to district court, but I'm going to have Jared, if he wants to provide some recommendation and some amendments that he sees fit for this ordinance.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. It's nice to meet you all virtually. I have reviewed the ordinance. With respect to an appeal process, I like to kind of go overboard. I like to have both an administrative appeal within a municipality and then also judicial review in district court. So this one goes straight to district court. You can certainly do that. I like to try and cut off any potential due process arguments that may be made in the future. So I would recommend, and I can draft some recommended language for you all, but I'd recommend a process where the quasi-judicial proceeding occurs and then there's a municipal right to appeal to the governing body. And then if the license holder still feels necessary, they can also appeal to district court. That just ensures that there's been an adequate due process and it would uphold any constitutional challenges.
Yeah. I don't know about the rest of you. I got 3 phone calls yesterday, a couple of texts, a couple of emails. Most of them were geared towards the appeal process, which it sounds like we may be near a compromise. The others expressed the concern, and I think we've kind of been challenged by it ourselves. We're punishing the owner of the property, but, you know, if they put up all the signs and they pass the inspections and did everything right, I think that's why we've had split votes, because half of the governing body, you know, sympathizes if the homeowner has done everything they could to stop it. So, you know, a couple things. One is, and we got an email yesterday from a constituent, is if we were able to soften the one strike you're out, you know, maybe allow 2 instances before it's terminated. And then the second being seeking fines and penalties with the offender and not necessarily against the homeowner. But I just throw that out for discussion.
Anyone? Well, I certainly agree with everything you just said.
As do I, Mr. Mayor.
I think it's incumbent on the renter that if they're called up, that a police officer, and now we've changed it to where a firefighter can actually write a ticket.
Yep.
And hold those folks responsible, but then we need to make sure that the property is not enabling, you know, that they do have the fire pits picked up, and we've talked about that. But it's hard to control people. Even you can put all the signs up you want, and we've had that. Yes, sir, Joe?
Is this a public hearing?
This right here is a public hearing.
Okay, so I didn't know if we get to comment now or.
Yeah, and then we'll open it up.
Okay, well, I got about 4 different questions to ask on this. Just a couple of comments, a couple of questions there. In the discontinuation of a permit, say a homeowner decides to discontinue, goes through the process, said a record will be kept at the village hall. But I would like to see that a letter would be given to the homeowner or the whomever that's discontinuing that as far as a short-term rental. That way, just if they, because many of those are going to be long-term that they're just going to discontinue. That way they'll have a matter of record to take to the county assessor and appeal their property taxes from an NA to a residential, because that's basically what it is now as a NA, so they have to pay higher property taxes on that, and they'll have to go through the appeal process on that. And then also I have on page 6, let's see, let's go to page 6. that there's a little bit of ambiguity here or a conflict, because here where you have written down that unresolved issues include the following. So that's under under 2. Okay, so you go to D, it says failure of local contact to respond to an alleged occupancy, parking, noise, or outdoor burning violation within 30 minutes. So in this particular section, it seems that a outdoor burning could be resolved if they respond within 30 minutes. And then later it goes on down, of course, saying that it will not be tolerated and that their permit will be pulled. Let's just say suspended, pending revocation possible. And then another point is in the Appendix A, fees, fines, and penalties, that you have the application permit fee per year from $50 to $565. Now, if I remember correctly, that we adjusted that permit fee maybe about a year ago, Corey made the motion to $300. So since this strikeout language is supposedly the existing, was that never changed to 300 in the ordinance? And then I'm questioning the jump from 300 to 575. Why is that in there? And I think that we should have some discussion on that because that's a considerable jump. If it is from 3 to 575 or 565 right now, I think we need to discuss that. And then lastly, my comment on this is the way I view planning and zoning. The planning and zoning is to review the applications, given variances, make suggestion for ordinance changes and so on. In my view, that having them now hear the case of a possible revocation now turns them into an enforcement arm.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that we should put that onto them to enforce policy. I believe that that's the council's duty, no matter how distasteful it may be at times, that we shouldn't actually put that onto these folks.
No,
You know, we're elected, they're appointed.
that's right.
And I just think it is not right to do that to the Planning and Zoning Commission. That's my feel on it. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor
Yes,
Crawford,
sir.
Counselor Eby, it is $300. So,
So that needs to be changed.
yes, this was reviewed by our previous attorney, and now we have Jared reviewing it, but that is $300 that the council approved in the February meeting, so.
And that's in the block there on page 7 of 8,
Yep.
where it lists that.
The appendix A.
Yep.
So noted, thank you.
So what's your pleasure? Going back, I mean, we talked about massaging this, withholding the offender accountable, and we're putting that in process. I know Chief Minner has discussed it with his folks. And Chief Hall, have we made any progress? Okay. So we feel like that we've made progress there, but if you could remind us why we ended up here. You know, we had the split votes. We had a lot of vague language in here about, and then some demanding language as of thou shall that didn't really fit with what the intent of the ordinance was. So what was the purpose of taking it to the planning and zoning first? What was the reasoning behind that?
Mr. Mayor, if I can, I think had said, we understood being a final, but we wanted it to go to them first. I think we said that in here the last meeting, I believe that was
To
direction
review the
staff.
changes?
Yes, Mayor Crawford, members of council, the plan was to have the first hearing go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and at that time either go directly to district court, and now with the changes that go into the council for appeal, just like any other planning and zoning case. Yep.
And Mr. Mayor, I think too, historically, here comes the lame duck. The
You say
initial,
what you want to.
that's, well, not without conscience, though. The two instances also that we had that came before us were even further complicated by the fact that these individuals that rented this property brought their own fire pit. I mean, it wasn't that it was on property, that wasn't that it was non-compliance. They just, and you can get them, I guess, at Walmart or other places, but, so there was that. And so how do you, as a property owner, become responsible for the bad acts of others that, other than putting them on a list where they can't rent from you again? I don't know. But that was the other complicating factor to all of this.
Jared, you also mentioned the quasi-judicial hearing. Is that what needs to take place when it goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Yes. And that's just the regular quasi-judicial process. So there was one yesterday where they ran through a number of cases. They did a great job. But as long as we issue a written notice at the end and just swear in every witness, keep a record of everything, then it should hold up on appeal.
I just don't think it should have to go before the P and Z.
Well, this did, just to change the ordinance.
Right.
But we don't agree with it, but as far as if they're given a ticket, that goes to the court.
Right.
And that doesn't need to come for us. I think when it comes to the point of their privilege, their license being taken away, which is livelihood to a lot of people, that's a serious matter. But so is fires, as we all know. So.
But then you're right back to the deal of, well, we're punishing the owner instead of the people. So hopefully, if the fire department or the police department goes to the house where the fire is, no matter, saying I don't have an ID is not an okay deal.
No.
So hopefully we will be fining those people. I mean, how do you, maybe it should be with the 3 strikes.
Well, and I know that, just like you, we get calls from neighbors that they'll send me pictures of a Weber or whatever type of grill with a flame going 20 feet in the air. And people sitting around it doing what you want to do. And that's what bugs them. And it happens on multiple occasions. Well, I haven't gotten those phone calls in a while because the police have shown up, made it clear. We've reached out. Our lodgers are, rental companies, lodgers owners are doing a better job. We need to do a better job of getting the word out constantly. But, I would propose that they still come before the council, that we do go to more than 1 strike and you're out, but that we make sure that we have a process in place. I know that we have worked on. I want to make sure that we do, that we ticket, we punish the folks that are actually, whether they read the rules or not.
Exactly, it doesn't matter.
Because when you go into a community, a state, a country, you should know what those rules are. We have fire danger everywhere. People know it, that we make sure that they are ticketed. And then they can go to court and talk to the judge about it. That's what I would feel. And then we let the homeowner and the management company know that this has happened and to check the property for any kind of material, things of that nature. But we've seen it where they've taken the firewood that they have for the fireplace out, even in the metal fire carrier, and built a fire.
Yeah.
And so it's just hard. You can't fix some people. So, but it's hard for me to want to punish people that are honestly have invested a lot of money. You have a lot of people that make a living depend on these things. The economy is rebounding. We've got the GRT reports, and we see this sector is continually is coming back. But we've got to figure out a way to split this baby somehow.
Agreed.
So that's some of the changes. I know, Joe, you had great points on that, and for some reason I didn't catch the 565. I read right through that, but I would like to get some input from you guys so that we can get this played out without rushing it, because we've thought about it, talked about it for months now. But if we could come up with a compromise, Jared, that the people come to the village council, if there is a notice of revocation, just like what we did, but that we need to have every effort in place, that if there's a call either to the 911 emergency number or to the 800-88, whatever number that is, to the monitoring company, that a police officer, a firefighter is sent out, and that a ticket is issued. And regardless, and then it's going to be, there's 10 people there who gets the ticket.
Then Mayor, so, once again, Alex, and I know you've probably gone over this. So I have a house by me, and through the year, I've called now 4 times. So who is keeping track of the number of calls, and does that person then does that agency then contact you to say, hey, this property has 3 strikes or more, it needs to come before the council? Or you look at it first?
So thank you for your question. It depends upon how it comes in. If it's someone that calls the non-emergency number 911, we get the CAD cards in that situation, and then are able to evaluate whether that is something that is determined to be a violation, a strike. And then the second would be through the monitored line by Deckard as well. We get those. Third would then be through the online email portal for people to lodge a complaint with that. We get those reports very quickly from both our village staff at dispatch and then also from Deckard. We have not yet reached a point where we have received anything more than 1 complaint. I shouldn't say what, so I don't want you to understand that we've, against a certain property, and we do not have anything registered yet that has qualified as a strike on any of our properties with that. So it concerns me a little bit that you've said that you've called or that you have neighbors that have called or
that was just a
hypothetical.
for instance.
Okay, good,
yes.
thank you, thank
No,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I have one more question. So it's come up, so we're saying no fire pits, but yet it's okay to have a grill in the backyard that's got flames coming out of it. But because we put a grill on it, it's okay. Is that true?
Go ahead, Chief.
Come on up, come down here, Chief.
Sorry, Cade.
Sorry, not sorry. The allergies look better just from here.
Mayor, Council, so the question was, can they utilize a barbecue pit for a campfire, basically, correct?
No.
No.
They can use a barbecue grill to cook a steak on with wood or wood chips or charcoal and cook a steak on it, but yet you can't have a fire pit.
And that's my analysis. It's still a fire.
Correct, and it has to be witnessed that it's being utilized for its purpose. So if they're using it to cook their steaks and everything, then there's nothing we can do because they got it too high. But if it's obvious that they're using it just to have a fire pit, then yes, they can be ticketed.
And if we're in level 2,
Then that changes things. They can only use gas.
gas only.
Yeah, that's all of us, though. Right. Okay.
That's everything.
Yeah.
No more charcoal, no more wood.
That was another comment I got from a manager was, what if we allowed gas fire pits, but not?
And then we've had that question before.
For STRs, it was just two, that's kind of something you should go ahead and talk about.
So the consensus amongst the subcommittee of the Planning Commission that was working on this, as well as in consultation with the fire department and others, we just felt that it was too risky for short-term rental operators. I shouldn't say operators, but for the guests, that the perceived benefit of people being able to have a short-term rental with a fire pit was outweighed by the risk of the potential for people on vacation to perhaps not safely operate a fire pit that would cause a fire.
Remind us, do we have, who all, you don't have to give me names, but what made up that subcommittee?
It was members of the Planning Commission, including Chairman Rigsby, including Bill Hall.
You don't have to give names, but did we have any operators?
So we also had public hearings where we brought in the operators, management companies, the general public to discuss the provisions that were put into the proposed ordinance before it was brought forward for consideration by the Planning Commission and then eventual adoption by the governing
Did
body.
anyone attend those public hearings?
Yes, we had a large public hearing over at the convention center that was also available and broadcast through, I don't recall if it was but we also had it was either Zoom or a Teams type situation or YouTube that people were able to see that.
Mayor, picking up on what you're saying, I was on the council when the STR ordinance was first adopted, and it came about as a result of realtors, short-term property managers, P&Z members, all jointly working together. And flawed though it may have been, it benefited from the input of people that had skin in the game.
So do you feel like we have had that conversation and that planning take place?
Well, based upon the responses I got yesterday, and I don't know, was I the only one that got?
You're Mr. Popular.
Yes, you were the only one.
Based upon the number of responses I got, we needed, the STR managers needed more input in this. Again, increasing the number of violations beyond one, keeping the council as a appeal process, trying to target the offender rather than the property owner.
Definitely.
And, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
My 2 cents, for what it's worth, is as much as somebody could sit out there and say, man, you guys have been working on this thing forever. Well, it might take forever.
Yeah.
But if we want to get it to the end where it works for everybody, that the right things are taking place, then I think that's what we need to keep doing. And just like Joe, all of us read the document and he brings forward the price is
We all
wrong.
missed it.
So,
we did.
that I think needs to have merit as far as let's keep discussing this and make sure we find the best product.
I have another question.
Thank you.
On page 3 at the bottom, what is the business registration all about? I don't understand that. It says, a business registration, and an owner rents, lists, or books the property with a managing agent. If a property owner rents, wait a minute. Business registration is not required if an owner rents, lists, or books the property with the managing agency. Then on the next page, 4, it says if a property owner rents, lists, or books their property without a managing agency, a business registration is required. So are we doing that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, we are. So with the management company, they are required to have a business registration, so that's covered in that regard. But the individual operators, because they are required to have the business registration. But the management company covers, they are taking care of all the business aspects on behalf of that property owner.
Why, I didn't think this was a business.
Yeah, of course it is. If it's an individual, you register it, but if you list with an agency or whatever, then they register it. So we can go in and inspect it, you collect taxes on it, that we know it's, that the
But
property's.
we can't get the utilities as a business because, do you see what I
It's
mean?
being charged as a business, almost. It's, what is the county calling it now? A non-residential.
Residential
And charging additional taxes for short-term rentals. So they have defined it But if it's in a residential area, it's not in, it's in the homeowner's name.
That was what was coming up, because if you said it was a business, you'd go, that is not zoned for business.
Right.
When we first had this years ago.
So it's one of those, that it's been made a special, I can't remember what the term was, allowance or whatever for people with their property.
Yeah, it was an overlay.
Yeah,
So-
overlay.
One more question, and I'm done. So is the company finding, I mean, last meeting, you said, the company said there were 600. Okay, so I guess my question is if somebody is not registered, how does that company know that they are unregistered?
Thank you again for your question, Councilwoman. The first part I'll answer is when the company at the council meeting earlier this month, Mr. Davis did not account for were the permits that had not yet been renewed through their system. And so when they went back and accounted for all those, their number closely aligned to the 13.
It was like 1,200 and
yeah,
I just saw the number.
Yeah, that we have, that we believe that we have currently permitted, licensed. The process, of course, is that the way that Deckard identifies that is they use the internet listings that are out there, that they scrub those. And if they cannot find that it aligns with an address that is permitted, they will flag it. Through their AI, of course, is doing that first part. Then human people look at it. They will then flag it to say that this is a property that appears to not be registered, and they will then send a letter to that property owner stating, we believe that you are not registered, therefore you need to get registered.
So they go out to an Airbnb listing and to see if it's, okay,
Exactly.
okay.
Okay, so what do y'all want to do about this? Do you want to make an amendment, or do you want to table it until we can?
I would suggest Mayor, you open up the public hearing so we can have the benefit of hearing
Okay.
any comments and ultimately push this back for revisions as discussed.
Agreed? Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to pros, cons, or whatever against this? You can raise your hand, speak to it. If you have some input that you want to input to be considered, go ahead. Come on down, Shane. Just,
My name is Shane Zimmerman. I wasn't prepared to give a speech, but given the opportunity, I will speak my piece. My wife and I own and operate 3 Airbnbs just for our family. We don't have a property manager. We do it ourselves. My extended family owns several, so we're pretty well versed in the rental market, well invested. Kind of our retirement type thing. I'm a realtor also, but I don't have a 401k or anything, so I'm using these Airbnbs as an investment. And so I'm invested in the community is what I'm saying. So we really believe that there shouldn't just be a final, the verbiage in that, whatever you guys have there, the ordinance that's proposed, final word by planning and zoning is scary, the revocation. Because like a lot of you guys have said, if you do as a homeowner, everything you're supposed to do, proper signage, notification, you're licensed. I mean, we're doing everything we can, paying the fees, or not fees, the permitting, everything we're supposed to do to keep it active. And to your point, you can't fix stupid. You get a bad apple that comes in there and brings their own fire pit or whatever. We can't control that. Even though I'm local, there's a lot of people that are out of town that own investment homes. But I'm local, I can respond in 5 minutes. And fortunately, we've never had any issues. None of our properties have never been called with the police or fire department. We abide by everything, but that's not to say that somebody could come over here and do something illegal at our property. And we just don't want to feel like as a homeowner and as our investment is being penalized, and the final say is done, and I'm going to have to go fight it in municipal court to get my investment back. So whether it be a 3-strike thing, or, which, once again, hopefully we won't get 3 foolish people in a row, that would make us lose our permit. But I really think there should be some kind of appeal process other than P&Z. So if they want to hear it out and they vote or recommend something, I like the way where it comes back to you guys as elected officials to hear us out before it goes to the courts. Just make it before it's final, having that final word with them, and then all of a sudden we're having to go to court. It just doesn't sit right with me. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on this. I really appreciate you guys ironing out all these details and catching all the fees, because we were really big into this STR ordinance overlay last year when we had it, or the year before. We were supposed to have it before the fire, that meeting, and then we had some town halls and other things. And there are still a lot of things that need to be ironed out, I feel like. I attended some of the town halls. One more comment before I go sit back down is I feel I'm very sensitive to the fires here. We lost our primary home in 2024 out near Alpine Village. We're out near the forest. We lost our home to fire. So, of course, I am very sensitive to anything fire-related in the mountains here. But I do want to put it in perspective. I feel like this whole fire pit issue, and we did have fire pits at our 3 rentals. People enjoyed using them. They were all propane fire pits, controlled flame. Never had an issue with them. We removed them after the ordinance said you can't have them anymore. But just a reminder, this fire was not caused by a short-term rental propane fire pit. We all know what it was caused by, no matter what it was labeled as, but it wasn't because of a renter using a propane fire pit. So let's keep it in perspective. Yes, we want to limit our risk, and I'm fine with, I'd rather have the fire pit there. A lot of people really enjoy sitting out in the evening with a glass of wine by a little controlled flame fire. So we've had a lot of complaints when we had to remove them. A lot of people enjoyed that. But if you guys think it's best for the community not to have them, that's fine. But I don't want to lose my license if someone comes over and illegally brings it. And once again, it's the risk. Maybe we talk to the fire department and see what the risk of using a propane fire pit is, because I don't feel like there's any more risk with that as opposed to cooking burgers on a grill. But that's just my perspective. So thank you very much, Councilman and Mayor. And I just urge you to please have some kind of checks and balances to make this a real just decision rather than final decision made with planning and zoning and then you're having to go to the court. I feel like there needs to be, several strikes and then an appeal process just to make it fair. Thank you.
Well, with your expertise in this, I just want to ask you a question.
Sure.
I've been in a lot of meetings with insurance is a big thing, and one of them has been eliminating fire pits. And then, and this is with the Office Superintendent of Insurance Offices when they were going with State Farm and all these other companies. And it was brought up the amount of short-term rentals that we have in the community, and they were calling them not just people coming in for the weekend that maybe aren't used to setting fire pits or fires. So we were talking about that we had eliminated the fire pits, and so they were looking at that's one move in the right direction, hardening the homes, all these other things. Have you had any discussions with your insurance carrier? Have they brought that up to you?
Personally, I use USAA. They've been fantastic.
You got the best service.
Yeah, they haven't told me anything about that, but I am on board. From my real estate perspective, I have had clients have a hard time getting insurance, and they're paying higher rates now.
Yes.
And so I am on board if eliminating STR fire pits is the answer, and we can all of a sudden get insurance again, affordable.
Well, it's
we got to
one
do what we got to
little
do.
piece of an answer is what they're saying. All these things are leading us in the direction, but I don't know. But I was just curious if your carrier, but USAA is probably the best.
Yeah, they're kind of an anomaly. They're
Yes.
great. They're not nitpicky like that. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank
Is
you.
there anybody else that would like to speak to this, against it? Yes, ma'am. Come down, tell us your name.
Kayla Robinson. just to touch on what Shane was saying, I do think there needs to be some checks and balances with, first of all, I really think that allowing the fire department to issue the tickets is going to rectify a lot of issues. I do think that at that point, the homeowner's property manager should still have to show that they've done their part.
Yes.
So maybe that goes to planning and zoning. Maybe planning and zoning then makes the recommendation to you guys. But maybe it does, something like that goes to planning and zoning, because I do feel like the owner still, unfortunately, needs to prove that they did their part. And again, if it goes to planning and zoning, they can be the one to be the bad guys, and then it can come to you guys to make the recommendation. So, just a thought.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Okay, anybody online? Nope. Okay, we'll close the public portion of that, and I'll bring it back to the council for a, it sounds like the consensus is we need to spend some more time on this. So we need a motion. Jared, would it be to table this or postpone it till, I don't know if a month will be long enough?
Postpone to.
We can postpone it.
To the May meeting, I would say.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you can make a motion to postpone and we can work on some language in the meantime.
Okay, so I would entertain, if that's consensus of the council, to make a motion for postponement till the May meeting, which would be May the 12th. Is that right, Clerk, Madam Clerk?
Will that be enough time?
Well, what we're going to have to do is make sure that we get with our staff, that we reach out to the people in the community. I think that we just need a little bit more input. Probably the one calling you. Call them back and say, would you be interested?
Well, I just got a text from someone that said they would be interested
Okay.
in serving on the subcommittee.
And I haven't gotten a text about this particular issue, but, reach out to those people I don't think we're that far off. There are some things about accountability that we need to make that we didn't have last time that we do now have with our firefighters and the police understanding. The tracking, I understand now through Deckard that we're up to speed on that because that's what they had proposed. We need to talk about that again after we had meetings with those guys the week before and make sure that all those are logged and that we have accountability and that we have to track it. So we'll have to put that, but we'll have to make sure that we get it done before May. So. Okay.
And Mayor, to Councilor Letterman's point of the repeated violations, and it's not necessarily a fire. It might be the noise, it might be over occupancy and stuff. I want to make sure we cover that in 3 strikes you're out. So that way, that's why I was looking at a little bit longer time to review more. And then also the fees that jumped to $565. I don't know where that.
That's
went.
300. It was a mistake.
And we'll get that corrected.
Yes.
If you wait too much longer, you're going to be.
Mayor
in
Crawford,
full-blown-
members of the council, the original sign ordinance has the $300 on it. This is what was provided to us by legal counsel at the time, and it didn't have the right numbers
It
on
should
it.
be
$300.
$365 or $300.
$300.
Just $300.
Yep.
Okay.
For the sake of discussion, Mayor, I move that we postpone the public hearing for adoption of ordinance 2026-10 until the regular meeting in June.
May.
Well, I'm picking up on what Councilor Solis is saying. Give us a little bit more breathing space.
Well, then you're in our
I
season.
know,
So
that's
that's the only thing I was, I don't want the horse to be out of the barn already, but we can do June, whatever the pleasure of the council is.
I think
So
it
we
should
have
be
a
May.
motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
So it's June?
June?
And if I may, it won't be another public hearing then, or will it?
No, this would be a recommendation. We're going to bring in, my understanding, and what I propose to do is get with Alex and staff, Chris, over here, and we may reach out to Shane and whomever, and then some of the folks that you have, because
Agio Leave is
the
texted.
biggest ones that comment on this are some of the managers to help fine tune it. They deal a lot with that. I'm not getting calls from residents. That's who I used to get it from.
Yeah,
I'm
which
not-
is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not getting those phone calls.
Sure.
But I know as a next door neighbor to a 2-story, 6-bedroom rental that's rented virtually every week, not just weekends, that if I was a grumpy old guy, I can make it real miserable on it. But usually, it just takes one little call over there, and they realize they're in the mountains and it echoes, and they're very compliant. And they have a great time. So, you know, I understand about the 3 strikes rule you're out. We need to make sure, because I've had calls before where residents said, I'm just going to call every weekend whether they're making a noise or not. So we have to give the owner of the property. And again, this is a big part of our revenue source for real estate in the community.
Amen.
So we're going to have to take all that into consideration. So we will get a good group together post-haste and hammer out these issues. And then maybe in a workshop, we have questions brought up like this. We can do this in a workshop, okay? Because we always seem to find things, because we can review these individuals, but we can't talk as a group.
Well.
And then we don't get to visit on all these different issues.
And to paraphrase Counselor Hooker, it's like making sausage.
Mm-hmm.
And Mayor Crawford, members of the council, will have Jared also involved in this, so he's already reviewed the entire ordinance, but we'll get his recommendations also and his legal opinion, so.
Okay.
Mayor, before we vote, Alex, I'm sorry, in this ordinance, the occupancy, I thought was very vague. Is it a car per bedroom?
They struck bedroom.
Do what?
They struck bedroom, they put sleeping unit.
So a couch?
So thank you for that question, because that is one of those pieces that we have, I guess, to be frank about it, we've gotten pushback from our folks, and we'll look at that to be sure that we have it more clear as to what the occupancy is, because
Yeah, I don't
when
have
changing it to a sleeping unit per the building code, there are certain criteria that need to be met in order for it to be a sleeping unit.
Okay.
And so we'll also put that on the table for clearing up, to be sure that we have it.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Oh, and Mr. Mayor, just as a point of clarification, so we're tabling motion on this adoption or open hearing, or what it will then be, adoption of ordinance 2026-10 to June the 2nd at the workshop for further consideration. Is that correct?
Yes, I think we'll have a workshop before June 2nd.
Well,
And
no,
then-
that is the workshop.
No.
June 9th.
June
9th.
Well, I think we could have it before then on June 2nd, but we could also have it in May, once we get all the information, because we're going to go to work on this pretty quick.
No argument there. We need to clarify the timeline.
Well, we don't have to clarify when we're going to have a workshop on this item.
Well, but the workshop, I think, Dr. Jackson, are you talking about the council workshop? Or
Yes.
you're- Oh, okay, but you're talking about a workshop with,
Well, during a
individuals.
workshop, this could be an item.
okay.
Like we could have it in May to see if we still need to hammer it out, because I don't want to
Oh,
get
I
to
see.
June and this go,
Okay,
man,
Send it
that's
back.
what I was thinking, because I want to get on this really quick.
Yeah.
right.
And then have these answers, because we've been pulling this string so long and it's confusing to everybody. Sometimes I forget what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I want to get the people that it matters most to. And I think that we've got enough things, we've spent enough money on the software, we're getting that all up to speed, that part hopefully is taking care of itself. Is it better, Chris? Yes. So that is doing what it's supposed to do. Now we need to do we have gas grills and gas, propane? What about gas heaters on the porch? I had one time that I didn't clean the pine needles off and smoked, and they caught on fire, and they didn't cause a fire. They just, I'm like, where'd that come from? So, we need to make recommendations, and a lot of that is about working with our rentals. about maintenance issues and make sure those things are clean. So I think we need to encompass all of that. But I'd like to get together before June to make sure we don't have any loose ends, so that in June, we can give all these people the direction that they need so they can get on with making a living.
So Mayor, my motion was for the public hearing, and the workshop can be held whenever.
Before, yeah, for June 9th. Okay, and we have a second? Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion? Yes, sir?
This will be my last opportunity
Yeah, I forgot about
to
that.
make a comment on this, is that during the hearing process, my concern is that you have a homeowner who could possibly lose or say, or is in limbo. And depending upon what day of the month that an infraction occurs, then going to the planning and zoning, then coming to council on an appeal, that could well take 90 days. That possibly could take 90 days. Now, to me, I think that's not expedited fast enough for the homeowner to know. I mean, it'd be in limbo for 90 days. I think that's too long. So I think we really need to look at that. We have a process that expedites the decision-making so that the homeowner at least knows pretty quickly, as quick as possible.
Proposal?
That, you all are going to.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Well, I recommend Counselor Eby serve on the subcommittee.
But I don't disagree with that at all, because they could lose the big season all summer. So that will be a portion of the subcommittee. You make note of that, Alex? Yes, sir. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody. I apologize again that we haven't got to a final, but I think it's wiser to work this thing out and try to get the best answer possible. Move on to item number 2, discussion and possible action on an agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and Rosas Restaurante to operate a full-service restaurant at 118 Lakeshore Drive, Alto, New Mexico. Do we have anyone here from Rosas?
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, he was not going to be available today for this. We did do the RFQ process, working with Christie here, and we received one proposal. It was certified. It was, what's the term? I couldn't think of the term, but it is, and we're ready to move forward with it.
Roderick, that's your job right now.
Yes.
To pick up where she dropped the word.
But we are moving forward with it. We do have the contract, working on the final contract, and asking the council for approval to move forward on this endeavor.
Mr. Mayor, the one thing I see at the bottom of the contract, the date has 2024.
Right.
Okay.
Right above the signature lines, it just says 2024.
Responsive is the word I wanted to use. Responsive.
And this is, they're going to run the restaurant
Yep.
Yes.
there and sell bait and tackle?
They're working on that. Not sure at this time,
It
but
says it in there.
yes, it's in the
I was
document.
like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on.
Italiano,
We don't
a
want to
little.
get it mixed up here.
In Mayor and Council, this is an item here that it's below threshold, and we could have just approved it, but we wanted to be transparent, and that's why we presented it to council.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and Rosas Restaurante to operate a full-service restaurant at 118 Lakeshore Drive, Alto, New Mexico.
Second.
Any final discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
And if you had never eaten there, it's excellent. Oh, and by the way, Colin, I apologize. I called you Connor a while ago. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, apologies. Discussion, number 3, discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2026-18, a resolution authorizing the Village of Ruidoso to submit an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority to participate in local government planning fund. Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am.
Hello, Mayor and Council. So this is going to be us applying for funding to be able to do our asset management plan. Essentially, that's a plan that outlines everything that we have as far as our assets go, like our water lines and our wells, and how we manage them to make sure we're doing everything efficiently. Essentially, the asset management plan is going to have everything that we're setting up right now with MyGov for the asset management program as well as our work order system. Ideally, as we're designing this, we're going to have our guys in the field, when they're going out and doing work orders, they're going to be able to submit information with the different water lines that they find, any additional things that they add to the system, and it'll update our system in real time. That way we have the most accurate information, because we're noticing that we have some gaps in our accuracy for all of our entire water system, sewer system, pretty much everything. So we're hoping that as we go through the work order system and we update our assets, we'll be able to have a more comprehensive idea of what we have, especially when we go out for funding in different projects in the future. The asset management plan is also a requirement for a lot of different funding opportunities, including the Water Trust Board. So being able to get funding to execute this and work with Sauter Miller Associates will help us.
Motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-18, a resolution authorizing the Village of Ruidoso to submit an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority to participate in the local government planning fund.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Hooker.
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Corey.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Item number 4, discussion and possible action on proposal with Rymark Construction, Inc. for roof replacement on 2 existing cabins and exterior repairs at 603 Meacham Drive, utilizing New Mexico, is that General Services Division?
Yes, sir.
Statewide price agreement number 30-5-23-3-70 in the amount of $90,202.72, including New Mexico GRT. Ron, you want to?
Mayor and council, this project here will be removing all the exterior siding, currently the roofing, replace it with a metal roof and all new siding that's going to match the existing homes, the modular homes.
So, Ron, for clarification, these are the stick-built buildings,
Yes.
not the modular units?
No, these are the 2 cabin that look like the cabins, the 2.
The ones we've had there.
And they're going to do new trim around the windows, doors. We did have new windows replaced a couple of years ago. This will be a turnkey on the exterior to match the existing homes.
But we do have a tenant, don't we, in one of those?
Yeah.
We're actually going to have 2 tenants, but yes, we'll be doing the work and,
Just around them?
yes.
Okay.
And if you haven't been through there, it's really looking nice.
It does look
And I
nice.
talked to the streets guys, and they're in the process of getting ready to pave all that. It's just got the millings down. And they'll be finishing the inside of the fence, and then hopefully doing a little, some of the landscaping's been done, but just some other measures being done so when we start getting some rain.
And this will be funded with a state grant is what it is, so.
And, Mr. Mayor, I assume that there's no kind of historical registry on those cabins or anything like that, as far as you can't do this. I would assume that had been checked on.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve proposal from Rymark Construction, Inc. for roof replacement on 2 existing cabins and exterior repairs at 603 Meacham Drive, utilizing New Mexico GSD statewide price agreement number 30-5-23-3-70 in the amount of $90,202.72, including New Mexico GRT.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Hooker.
Aye.
Counselor Corey.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And I think, Jackson, your new glasses look marvelous.
Thank you. I said it'd make me look smarter.
Well, they look distinguished. I don't know if you can get any smarter, but they look good.
Remains to be seen.
Item number 5, discussion and possible action on proposal from Rymark Construction, Inc. for the Poor Drive Brady Canyon Low Water Crossing Emergency Temporary Repair, installing a culvert and relocating sewer line to reduce flooding impacts, utilizing New Mexico GSD Government Services Department?
General Services Department.
Department, yeah, I don't know why I get that wrong every time. Statewide price agreement, number 30-50-23-00070 in the amount of $403,939.00, including New Mexico GRT. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor and council, we're going to be doing a culvert installation at Poor and Brady. We're going to be concreting everything in to turn it into a low water crossing. That way the water can just flow over the top whenever we have our flooding season. We're also going to be relocating the sewer line so it'll sit directly on top of the culvert. That way we can hopefully protect it from any flooding impacts that we have in the future. MP Chavez will be doing a lot of the work with Rymark. It'll start about the second week of April and it is expected to go on for about a month.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
Isabel, so is this low water crossing, is that a permanent deal?
No, it's going to be temporary and we're going to get funding from the Cat B from FEMA.
No, this is still the emergency work money.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot like,
Yeah, the one that, yeah, I know.
what's that bridge that we replaced so many times?
Oh, McDaniels Bridge.
Yeah,
McDaniels.
Daniels, yeah.
Mayor and council, also, we have a sewer line and a water line there that's it's gonna take some creativity to be able to relocate while we're doing this work, so it's gonna be a lot, so. And we're working with Mr. Dukes out in the audience here, helping
Yep.
us out with this, so.
Yep. And will help those people, because if you have been up there, you know, it's pretty hard to get around. And there's a lot of work being done up Perk Canyon by the forestry and whatnot. If you haven't been up there, they've fell a lot of standing dead and put them horizontally to mitigate flooding. So I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the proposal from Rymark Construction, Inc. for the Poor Drive Brady Canyon Low Water Crossing Emergency Temporary Repair, installing a culvert and relocating sewer line to reduce flooding impacts, utilizing New Mexico GSD statewide price agreement 30 00070 in the amount of $403,939, including New Mexico GRT.
Second.
Final discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
And Counselor Eby?
All right, thank you very much. Good job, Elizabeth. Item number 6, Isabel. Discussion, I'm getting everybody's name wrong today. I don't know what's going on. Discussion and possible action on task order number 2026-001P-01 with Souter Miller and Associates for professional engineering services on the design and construction, observation of the Upper Canyon Diversion Reconstruction in the amount of $421,890.14, including New Mexico GRT.
Mayor and council, I actually brought Marty Howell here. That way he can give you some more information on the specific details of the changes they're going to be making.
Welcome, sir.
Morning, sir. This is unfortunately design of reconstruction of the Upper Canyon diversion structure. So Molson designed improvements to the structure, and those were basically done, about 95% complete. And then the flooding hit and did significant damage to the structure. And this is to redesign it. One of the things we think needs to be done is Molson structure had a thin layer of concrete that attached to what was there before, and we think that's part of why there was so much damage. So this design will be to take out the concrete that's there, put in a new diversion structure, and then go upstream and do some work to try and limit the potential damage from future flooding. So we'll put in a stilling pool where things can drop out, and then also some concrete walls where it'll slow down flow and give chance for sand to drop out before it hits the structure. And there's about $1 million of funding already set aside through Water Trust Board for emergency funding. And then we've applied for, and it sounds positive that we'll be getting another $2.5 million from that same fund. And we're calling that the Upper Canyon Flood Mitigation Project.
Nice.
When do you think that'll start?
That is a great question. I don't think if we did the whole project that I can have the design done in time to start construction before this year's monsoon season. One of the things I'll have to talk to Ron and the staff about is if they want us to try and do some improvements to it in a short term, that could happen before the monsoon season.
Because we've gotten reports from UWS, different ones that the monsoon season could start real early this year.
And be heavier.
And I'm just really worried about that intake since we finally have it working,
Yes,
that we've lost all that funding. That seems to be the nature of our game.
because it's the last 2 years we haven't had
Mm-hmm.
any.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, also,
Recording stopped.
we were obligated FEMA funds also for design on this project, so we'll be incorporating those funds also.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, entertain a motion.
Joe, let Joe make that motion. He is in last motion of his official duty.
I certainly would defer.
To approve action on task order 2026-001P-01 with Sutter Miller and Associates for professional engineering services on the design and construction observation of the Upper Canyon diversion reconstruction in the amount of $421,890.14, including New Mexico GRT.
Second?
Okay. Any final discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Now we'll go
Thanks,
into
Isabel.
closed session. Could get them, we have to find somebody to Gary to
Wow.
school.
Let's record him. So whoever can do that can just play the recording.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move into closed session for discussion of limited personnel matters citing 1015-1H2 MSA 1978. Further discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant citing 1015-1H7 MSA 1978, and discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso citing 1015-1H8 MSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Corey?
All right, we'll be back.